The new Fall Guys update is finally here, and let me be the first to tell you that it is an absolute banger. In today's video, I am going to tell you everything that you need to know about this new update, from all of the new creative objects all the way to the rounds that have been unvaulted. First things first, starting in creative. Now, there is nothing new to the actual main screen, so you still go to create new and you still only have the race option and you have the original and the digital themes. However, I'm going to show you one thing that they have changed to the aesthetic in creative mode. So regardless of whether or not you go into original or digital, you now have the option to change the sky. So if you hit the settings button and you click on edit, you now have an option to change the background. So right now I'm in the original theme, which I'll get into a little bit later, but you can change the background to Halloween, digital, medieval, as well as future. So the one thing to note is that even though you were changing the background, depending on whether or not you chose digital or original, that will dictate the texture and the styling of the pieces and objects that you can place. There have been a couple of adjustments to the objects in digital to give them more of a digital feel, including the boingy board, as well as the eggs and some of the other carryable objects. Now, let me go through all of the new objects added in this update. First things first, I think the thing that people are most excited for is the speed arches, which is in the obstacle section. If you go on down to the end, you see the speed arch. It's actually a reasonable amount of budget. It is only 20 budget, and it can be placed in the air. It can be rotated. It can be moved to fast, very fast, normal, and then it could be made to be a short amount of time that you have the speed for, long or medium. But 20 budget is awesome. You can also rotate it every which way so that you can actually place it floating in the air if you really want to, and you can have somebody bounce up and go through it. But let me show you how the speed actually looks. So if we spawn on in and we head through the ring, we are just going to go a lot faster. I think I put this on the fastest speed and very fast, so you can make it all the way to the end of a very long platform with that speed, and you can go absolutely flying. One thing to actually note is that you actually get double the speed if you actually put two speed hoops beside each other. So let me show you like this. If you put them side to side and you go through them both, or even if you just go through the same one twice, you actually get double the speed, which is a cool thing to note, and you can jump on over. Another thing to note about the speed arches is that you can actually put a double one. So if you press up, or on the keyboard, if you hit the up key, you'll have the option to put a double speed arch, which is the exact same thing, but it is a hoop. So you can have people go through either side. There's no difference in the ability to edit it. It's either very fast, medium, long, and short, and so on, but just a cool additional feature to have. The next thing that I need to note is that on top of the objects, they have also changed the color patches and the color swatches that you can use. So you can already probably have noticed that this blue is actually very slightly different than the old blue. The old blue was the same color as the starting line, but you can see it's a more of a darker shade, has a little bit more gray in it. I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but trust me, I've already played a couple of maps, and the additional colors have made such a big difference with that fresh lick of paint that Fall Guys has been teasing forever. So let me show you all the different colors. So we have the blue, which is the blue that you get when you first put down the floor. We've got almost like a lighter purple or a darker pink from what we originally had. There's this yellow piece, and then there's the original pink that we had. We've got almost like a water blue color. Very cool. It can be used easily to make water on the ground. We've got this very light pink, which we've never had before, kind of like a greenish yellow. A regular purple. I think this one's a slightly different hue of purple than what we had from the last update. We got orange, pretty much a very, very light shade of yellow, more of a aqua shade of green, pretty much a pure red, which is really good. I'll show you a map in the next video of a map that I made that uses this color in a really cool way. Then we've got the original blue that we started with, and then green, and then a dark purple, red, blue, and then so on and so forth. The next object that I want to talk about is this small little hoop at the very beginning. It's called a circular platform. Nothing much to do with it. A couple different colors, a couple different sizes. You can just place it on down. Let me put it low enough right here. You can just jump on it. You can kind of put other things on it. It's just a very simple piece with a couple different colors. Not too much to be said about that. Now, one of the coolest additions that they have added in this update is the trigger button as well as the pressure plate, and I'm going to show you exactly how you can use these and which objects you can use them with. All right, So what I want to show you before I place down the buttons and the triggers is that there's a slight change to some of the pieces that already exist. For example, with the fan, you now see there is a toggle on/off. This determines whether or not the fan starts either on or off. If you have it toggled with the check mark, it means the fan will start on, which you can see the fan is blowing wind. But if you turn it off, the fan will start in an off position, and this will make more sense when I show you what the buttons do. Same thing, we have added a new piece. It is called the beam barrier, which is found at the very side of the obstacles. It only costs 15 budget and is placed the same way as a floor piece, so you can extend it using these little arrows in the corner. I'm going to place it here, and you place it down. There's also a setting to turn it on and off, so it can either start on or start off. It has a start delay. There's also a cooldown, which will determine how much time it will take to turn on or off. Now, let's get to the button. So we got the trigger button, which costs 40 budget, and you can place it anywhere on the map, floating in the air, upside down, rotate it any which way you want. But I'm going to show you what it does. So when you place it down, it looks like this, and it has a little kind of plug in the middle of it. Before I do anything with it, if you jump on it, it kind of just turns on. It doesn't do anything right now because I haven't connected it to anything, but I've put down the 3 pieces right now that can be affected by buttons. So we have, as I said, the beam barrier, fans, as well as conveyors. If you are on the controller and you click the square button on the little kind of plug, you can then connect it to any one of these pieces just by simply hovering this little green dot on it, and then you're just going to click X to confirm. Now, what this means is this button is now connected to this piece here. The cool thing is buttons can be connected to multiple items. So I can connect it actually to all 3 of these items, which I will. So now all 3 of these pieces that I placed down are connected. The cool thing is once you've connected it, you can move this around. You can see that that green tether moves with it. So no matter where you move this conveyor piece, the connection will always remain. Now, depending on, as I said, whether or not you keep it on or off, that will determine what the button does in its start state. So right now, you can see that the fan is off and the bridge is open and the conveyor is moving forward. Now you can see when I jump on this, all 3 should change. You see the fan is now turned on, the bridge is retracted, and the conveyor is now moving the other way. Well, it was before the button stopped. So now, as you can see, when I jump on it, it seems like the button lasts for about 3 seconds before it turns off. Just about that. Now, the thing to note is that once the button turns off, it doesn't change the state of these items. So the fan is still on. If I click it, the fan will be off, and just because the button lifts up doesn't mean these things are going to change. What you need to do is actually hit it again for the state to change once more. When the button goes up, it just allows you to click it again. So if you go to the button and you actually right-click it, you can change the cooldown, which just tells you how long you have to wait in between button presses. So you can saw it took about 3 seconds before. This time now it's going to pop up almost immediately, so you can change the state as quickly as possible. The second item I want to show you is then the pressure plate, which is very similar to the button and is used in a similar way. I'm going to plop it on down here. This one costs 30 budget, whereas the button does cost a little bit more, 10 more with 40 budget. You trigger and link it the same way. One thing to note, though, is each piece can only be triggered by one button or pressure plate. So since I've already used these 3 connected to this button, I cannot use them again. But if I copy it, you can still connect an additional one to this. But I'm going to actually remove this link, and you can remove it just by clicking delete on that little X. And I'm going to connect it to this one. So I'm going to do this. Same thing applies. You can toggle it on or off. So what that would mean, though, is because this is toggled as on, when I'm on the pressure plate for as long as I'm on it, it will turn off. The second I let go, you'll see it turns back on. If I do the opposite and I turn it so that the toggle is off, the fan will only turn on for as long as I'm standing on this pressure plate. One thing to note with the pressure plates is that they can be used in really cool ways. I'm going to copy this beam barrier. I'm going to remove the tether to this other button. I'm going to tether it to this pressure plate. I'm going to make it into a door, actually. And you can see, let's say you have a partner on this side, and we click here and we click here and we tether it like that. When we land on this, you can see the door would open. So if you have a co-op map, you can use it as a door as well. Now, the last thing that I want to show you uses the carry object spawner, which we've already had in the game. However, there are 2 more types of items. We have the punching block forward and the punching block upward, similar to the carryable fans. What the punching block forward is exactly what they teased in the trailer. You grab the block, and it's about every 2 seconds it punches out and will hit anything that is in its near vicinity. With the punching block upward, it is the same thing, but instead of punching forward, it will punch upward. I have already made a map, which is going to be coming in a future video using these in a very cool way. I'm really excited for you guys to see that, so look forward to that. But these are just really cool objects that you can add to your maps to add a little bit of variability. So guys, that is everything that they have added to the creative mode. I think the coolest things is that you can simply change the background very simply, and it can add a very different dimension. You can also go back to the maps that you have already made, and you can simply add all of these new objects to them, change the background, and just simply republish. 2 things that I do need to note before we leave creative mode that are very important. One, there's something very cool that they have added. Let me put a finish line to illustrate my point. Because these buttons and triggers are going to be really good for co-op maps, finally Fall Guys has added something that they should have a while ago, and that is the ability to publish a map without beating it. So you can see on the top it says skip test. If I click on that there, I'm just going to move forward. I'm going to pause it. I'm going to click skip test. This is what it says. You can't complete your round. Skip this test run to publish as not tested. A round published this way can only be played in a custom show until someone completes it. Note, there could be a short delay between the not tested tag being removed after you publish the map. Why is this important, and when would you use this? Guys, don't use this for your stupid Kaizos, okay? If you build a Kaizo, beat it, okay? If you can't beat your own map, you shouldn't be sending it out for other people to beat it because it's not fair for them to rage. This is really good to use when you have a co-op map that is literally impossible to beat without having another person. Obviously, you can only have your one bean in creative mode, so if you can't publish it because you need another bean to hop onto a button, or they need to uphold the carryable fan block to blow you up and you just can't do that, skip it. Publish it, play it with your friend in customs. When you beat the map in customs, it will then publish the map, get rid of that not tested tag, and it can be eligible to be featured in an actual show. Now, the very last thing that I want to mention that has already been addressed is that overlap glitch is actually not working right now. If you don't know how to do the overlap glitch, I quickly showed it. I'm not going to go through it again, but you can quickly see that the floor is not able to go through some of these pieces here that it would normally be able to go to. Now, I'm going to put a tweet up on the screen right now. You can see that Fall Guys has confirmed that the update did accidentally disable the ability to overlap items. It's funny because they don't refer to it as a feature. They just say the ability to overlap items. They're saying, though, that it is going to be fixed. I'm very curious to see if they're just going to make it so that you have to do the same kind of ridiculous way to like edit an item and undo the history to be able to overlap, or if they're going to add it as a feature. I really hope they add it as a feature because it seems like they're admitting that it's an okay thing to have in the game. It's just a matter of them putting it in as its own features. Now, with all that being said, I'm going to put up one more tweet on the screen that goes through some of the new creative rounds as well as the rounds that are going to be unvaulted, which I know you guys are very excited for. So with the new creative rounds, we have 4 new rounds that you can see right here on the screen now. You can see that we have Breezy Buddies, Remote Control, Cubic Conundrum, and Chain Reaction. Those can be found right in the live shows, right at the top under Creator Made Rounds. There's also some unvaulted maps coming. They're going to be unvaulting some maps, but that's only coming next week, so don't be looking for them right now. But we're getting Button Bashers back, Some Fruit, my personal favorite, Tiptoe Finale, Puzzle Path, as well as Penguin Pool Party. So all of these maps will be coming back, they said, sometime next week. So look forward to those. Guys, comment down below whether or not you think that this was a W update or an L update. Personally, what I've been able to put together so far and what I've seen has been absolutely phenomenal. I think they did a great job as long as they can fix the overlap glitch issue. But I've been loving it. Look forward to some videos on my channel that go over the maps that I've already been able to build. I'm going to be also building a co-op map that's going to be coming very soon, so I can't wait for you guys to see that. Hope you enjoyed this gun. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy my content, and we'll catch you in the next one. Take it easy. Don't forget one last thing. Don't be mean. Peace.